You didn't start a business to put out fires, but here you are, holding the extinguisher. Business isn't theory, it's pressure, late nights, tight margins, the thing that keeps breaking no matter how many times you fix it. When the room's on fire, the amateurs shout, the pros stay calm. That's the Fixers and Founders way. Part discipline, part rebellion. We walk into broken systems, find the pulse, and make it run clean. Because calm isn't weakness. Calm is a strategy. We're operators, builders, problem solvers. Born from the grind. Built for the builders. Join us now as we chat with fixers and founders just like you. Let's jump in.
So in my mind, Georgia and Florida are 8 hours apart because that was how long we had to drive.
My client is in Albany, Georgia, so southwest of Atlanta. So yeah,
Okay.
about 2 hours, I guess, away from Atlanta.
Yeah. People start kind of dropping Atlanta wisdom on me, and I always have to explain, like, I was there as a kid, so my experience was, from waist down. Like I didn't know the cities, the interstates. It's all a different experience as an adult.
Experience from the waist down. That's a good one. We need to hold on to that one.
Yeah, you can use that. Like, I think of everything as really big because I was really small for most of the time.
Everything was bigger when I was here.
Okay.
Welcome to Fixers and Founders, where vision meets velocity. I'm Tony.
I'm Forrest.
Today's guests, Benjie, Hughes, and Anna Hammond, the founder and the fixer duo behind Backthird Entertainment, a Chicagoland creative company that turned music into a business and parties into a system. Benjie's the visionary who built the brand and chased every big idea. Anna's the operator who kept the wheels on, turned those ideas into plans, and somehow made it all harmonize. Together, they scaled Backthird through weddings, bands, and recording sessions, building a business that rewrote the playbook for creative entrepreneurs everywhere. This is a story about partnership, pressure, and the art of building something that works without losing what makes it worth building. I'm Tony.
I'm Forrest.
This is Fixers and Founders. Let's get it done.
All right, so this will be the first test for the two of you guys because I'm going to see who gets to answer this question first. How did you two first connect?
Ooh. So I'm going to say that Anna was friends with my wife before we were friends. I think that's how it all happened, and they went way back. Would you tell it differently, Anna?
When I first connected on a trip to Thailand, when I was like freshman in college, and you were doing some journalism writing there, so there was that connection. But then that was like a ships in the night connection, and then our real connection was through Amy. Amy and I have been friends since I was in college.
Always so interesting asking that question, and you get two totally different stories on how that started out. So that's a great start to the podcast. When did it become clear that Benjie, you were the founder and Anna was the fixer?
Oh man. So Anna came in and did the interview. We didn't just work together because we were friends in the same circle. She wasn't literally the first hire. I had tried to have help from other people, but in terms of the growth of the business, she was the first. Like, she was the person along with me who influenced the culture and the direction, the way everything went. The way that I have the story in my head is that the local community college came to us, their small business development center, and they were like, "Hey, can you pilot this like entrepreneurial personality exam that we had?" They had an assessment that was like a strengths finder or something like that. Whatever the one is with the gears, Genius.
Working Genius.
Yeah, Working Genius. It was sort of like that, but the gimmick was multiple people took it and then they graphed your answers together and they looked at how you aligned, and they were just like, we need the two of you to take this. The only thing I remember about that result was graph of how likely you are to take action. And I was at the bottom, like, I'm going to sit and ideate until I'm dead, but never do anything with it. And Anna it was literally the opposite side of the graph. Like, so when they overlaid the two, it was like night and day. Like, she just wanted to go and move as fast as she could. And once we were handed that, I think we both felt empowered to like lean into that. And in my mind, that's when everything changed as far as like the wheels being on the ground and not just spinning in the air and actually getting somewhere. We figured out a dynamic that I could come to you and be like, we need a spreadsheet and it needs to do this. And then you would go improve the idea, build it 10 times better, 10 times faster and beautiful, and bring it back to me a week later. And I would have still been just improving the idea.
So now let's get the real story. Anna, what really happened?
Yes, I think it was working with the Waubonsie Community College and the Small Business Development Center that really crystallized that For me too, I came to Backthird fresh out of college and didn't have a clear sense of what I was bringing to the table. I wasn't in career mode. I was in job mode.
But put food on the table mode.
Exactly. Yeah. Like I need to grow a career here. But as I was young. And so as Backthird developed, I started to see where I could contribute and where I could come alongside Benjie and really make those ideas happen. And I think it was about that time that I read the book Making Ideas Happen by Scott Belsky. And he talked about how many great companies have the pairs idea. This is like before Rocket Fuel and all of those other books were published. And that for me was really like, I am contributing in a very meaningful way here. I'm not just like Benjie's minion. I have something to bring to the table and make it happen. And realizing that personally as a young adult was powerful. And as Benjie and I continued to refine our working relationship, we continued to get clearer and clearer and clearer on, yep, this belongs to you. This belongs to me. It made so many of those decisions just automatic and removed a lot of the friction
That's awesome.
from developing those processes. Yeah.
That's very cool. So, what are some of the day-to-day challenges of running a music and events company?
I feel like I need to set the groundwork here. I need to
Okay.
explain how bizarre this business was, right? So
Yeah.
Backthird, you need to understand, was one company, but two businesses. So it really was two different markets, two different clients, two different sets of products and services
Mhm.
joined it by a location and a staff. We had Backthird Audio, which was the recording studio. It was all about serving like local musicians and did lots of community building events. And at the end of the day, they're paying us by the hour to make records, right? And then we had Backthird Entertainment, which was the wedding business where we would go out to. I tell people now, any beautiful room in Chicago, I've loaded into through the kitchen at some point. We went all over the Chicago area and did events there, and the two kind of never met, and that was my fault. From the very beginning, I was just like, I started with the studio, and then what happened was I picked up the E-Myth, and I realized, oh, I want that. This studio thing's not going to scale, but I'm getting invited to play piano at weddings, so let me focus. So then the MO became for the next, I don't know, 10 or 12 years, like start with a wedding business, figure out how to make that scale, and then just apply the lessons in the recording studio. And Anna came on doing both. Like, I think your title was studio manager. Part of your role initially was like, can you make the studio easier for me so that I can focus on the wedding business? But weddings ended up being where the fixing needed to happen because that was the part that scaled. But when you asked me about the challenges of doing that, I wrote down every client is new, every payroll is different, and you're never allowed to have a bad night. Like, that's the wedding business. So by the end, we were doing 200 plus events a year, and they're 200 new clients. Like, you don't have
Yeah.
any repeat clients. They come to you to get married once, and then you start over from zero the next year. So you have to have a pretty robust sales system, and even to do a relatively small volume of dollars. And it's the same on the production side. Biggest we ever got was 3 or 4 people in the office, but we had 25 people between W-2 and 1099 doing events on the weekends who were like 4 members of the team, but a different person's working every week. You got some DJs who were doing 35 events a year and some who were doing 4. And then you've always got to be training the next people so that you can be dependable. We had to have a very robust production system as well. And then we had to deal with what happened when things went badly because they're not allowed to go badly at people's weddings. So there was a lot of stuff to build. Is that fair, Anna?
Yes. Yes. The other challenge is that we're working with DJs and musicians who are famously not the most systematized people.
Free spirits.
No way.
Yeah. And so creating systems that worked for us in the office and then also worked for, like assistant DJs who are often like college kids who are, handling very expensive equipment at 1 a.m. Like, how do we make all of these little systems work and scale and function, and make it as friendly to those people as possible so that we could scale, we could keep it rolling.
Yeah. And the goal was, like, this has become a sort of a core belief for me about how business should function. I don't know if it was then or if it was just necessity. Each individual person needed to have as much autonomy as possible. That DJ needs to be able to go out to the wedding and do it their way and use their own creativity and their own instinct to figure out how to make those people at that wedding as happy as they can. Because if they can't, they won't like the job and the job won't be successful. But there's still a number of things that they have to do to plug into the rest of our system and work with us. And B, to give us a sales promise that we can make. Like we figured out early on, you can't just sell Derek because this person's going to book 18 months in advance. Derek might not even be here anymore.
Yeah,
He
it
might
might be that.
leave the company and move out of the state, or he might get sick that night and you send somebody else. So you want him to be,
Or Derek's baby might come early,
my gosh, that actually
which
happened.
that actually happened.
Derek had
Yeah.
a baby. That must have made
Derek's-
front page news.
Derek's wife went into labor 3 weeks early, and he called us and he's like, "Hey, I'm not going to make this wedding tonight. I'm having a baby."
So how do you build these systems that let the individuals have a lot of autonomy and do it their way, but how do you make them consistent enough that a client knows that whichever Backthird DJ I get is going to be a Backthird DJ and not just Derek? Like there has to be a
Yeah,
brand
and
promise.
that is the challenge, right? With any good system, it's that repeating and getting, somewhat of a desired outcome. And it really leads into what I'd like to ask you both about, which would be that systems versus Spark dynamic. So Anna, throughout all that, what processes and systems did you employ to help keep the business flowing smooth and help keep it going?
I think a really big one that, I could talk about spreadsheets, I could talk about training processes, I could talk about all
Please
that. But
do.
one that really has stuck with me in my subsequent years is that Benjie and I would regularly, quarterly maybe, at least twice a year, sit down and kind of go through the buckets. Because when you're dealing with a small business, you're wearing a lot of different hats, and in different seasons of the business, we needed to kind of be putting on different hats. And so we'd say, okay, you take this for a while, and I'll take this. I will, he would have an idea. Okay, we're gonna grow our DJs. We're gonna need a DJ training process, and he would kind of sit with that for a little while, vision it up, and then hand it over to me, and I would systematize it. I'd be like, oh yay, now is the time. I get to do a color-coded spreadsheet, and I'm going to document everything, and it's going to be so pretty and beautiful, and I'm going to be able to hand someone a packet of information and walk them through a teaching, and they're going to completely be trained. Oh my, so nervous.
You
Is that
remember the
easy?
giant whiteboard? I can't remember what the
Yes.
project was. When we filled a whiteboard front, but like a 6-foot by 8-foot whiteboard front and
Yeah,
back.
like a
with
full-on
perfect-
classroom size whiteboard
best.
that we could flip over, and yeah, we would sit and have these beautiful, huge conversations. But it was the thing I think that I brought to those beautiful, huge conversations was an action list.
Yeah. Well, I love that. And you're spot on with that. I mean, sometimes that system is not a computer, it's not a spreadsheet. It's having consistent, regular communication with each other. And that sometimes moves the needle more than any spreadsheet ever could. Hey, Benjie, during those times, what were some of the creative risks that you did or want to take that help keep pushing things forward over there and innovating?
Yeah, I mean, I have a video about this on my current website. I think we went through 6 or 7 pivots in the time that this company existed. Some were small, some were large. If I were to, probably the most significant change that we made creatively was towards the end. We had a recording engineer for a while. Once I realized, I knew I was an entrepreneur when I found out I loved to do something until I was 80% dangerous at it, and then I was bored. And so when I got bored of being in the studio, we had a recording engineer who came and worked for us for a couple of years. And when Kyle got ready to move on and get a grown-up job, essentially, with any health insurance, he moved on. And I just kind of looked at that and I went, this recording studio is the wedding business is where it's at. That's where all our attention needs to stay focused. We don't want this to be a drain. And we pivoted it into a co-working space, which I don't know if anybody has done this or had done this at the time. So we went to this model where people would literally join, recording engineers. We had a mix of different kinds of clients, but people would join. We would ding their credit card every month and they had a key and they would come in and run their own sessions. So there was no staff. They could come in at any time and any 24/7. They just had to book on a shared calendar when they were going to come in. And we had a mix of we figured out after a while that the rock and roll guys would come in Friday and Saturday and Sunday for these super long sessions. The hip hop guys would come in the middle of the night and eat a meal in the control room at 2 a.m. and do this late night rap session. And then during the day, you'd have piano teachers or photographers that needed this place to shoot that would come in. And we found a way to just monetized the space enough that I don't even think it made a lot of money, but it paid for itself. Like we got to stay in this beautiful space. We got to cover all
Keep
our
the dream
overhead.
alive.
And most important, honestly, we got all of my attention, all of Anna's attention, and the other people that were working for us by this point focused on the wedding business, which was the business we
How
needed
cool
to
is
work.
that? I mean, that's definitely innovative. That's such a cool thing. What year was that, Benjie?
Oh, I want to say that was probably 2013. I think we did that we did it for 2 years, and then
Yeah.
I moved out of state. And when I moved out of state, we just closed it, moved to a smaller location. And Anna essentially ran things locally without me once I moved out of state. The
Not
business
without you.
went
You
back
did
to
all
Anna.
of our marketing.
That's true. Yeah, I tell people now I was a fractional CEO and a fractional CMO for my own business.
Right on.
Nobody was using that language then, but that's what I did.
So, hey, this one's for both of you. Chime in as you will. How does what you learned building Backthird impact your leadership and work today?
You want to go first?
Sure, I'll go first.
Okay.
So I think for me, it's continuing to sort of like realize and own just how valuable what I bring to any partnership is. I think as a kid, and I don't think this is uncommon, I picked up the idea that to be an entrepreneur, to have meaningful like impact in business, one has to be a visionary. One has to be like to have the great ideas and to found a business and start it and put your name on it. And I think I thought I should have that. And that never felt good to me. Like if the idea of like, okay, you get to start a business tomorrow, here's a bunch of VC money and you get to any idea you want, just go. I would be like, oh no, please don't. Like, I don't want that. And it still feels odd to confess, but I don't want that. I don't want to
I completely
have that kind of
relate.
pressure on me.
Mhm.
Yeah. But since my time with Benjie, since my time at Backthird, I have been so privileged to come alongside multiple other people and recognize that there are a whole lot of people out there, most of whom are ADHD or neurodivergent or whatever have you. And they need someone to translate these big ideas into actionable systems. And they need someone who is brave and bold enough to say, no, we're not that doesn't make sense,
That's not
friend.
going to work.
We can't do that one.
Yeah.
And sort of realize that like what I am contributing to the business, to that relationship, to that friendship, and even to the world at large. Like I am just in my sweet spot when I am able to take an idea and make it happen, make the system, make the communication strategy. I have now worked for a nonprofit, a church, and I'm currently working for a micro school. And in all of those, I am just able to like be myself and bring what I have, like what is uniquely Anna to the world. And that is such a gift.
That's awesome. I completely relate to all of that too. Everything that you said, even down to the having a tendency to undervalue myself. My wife, God love her, she tells me, you really don't understand how valuable you are and what you're bringing to some of these folks in these situations. But I just love the work. I love getting it done, getting it done. Hey, Benjie, same to you. Like, what do you take away from the Backthird days that you apply now in your
It's
present
amazing
work
to me that
today?
you all experience the world that way because it's the other side of the coin for me. Like I feel the risk, I feel the danger, but I feel so much louder a sense of freedom in doing something new that I almost have to. So I'm in my second business now. I just started a marketing agency called Hopeless Marketing a year ago, which has kind of become my passion. I'm in the very beginning, right? I'm back in that sort of early struggle stage where I'm just figuring out, oh, where's the best market for me? What clients do I like the most, and who do I serve the best, and where do I fit in? And so everything is up in the air. And I'm looking back at all of these Backthird days and going, what are the lessons that I keep? And probably the biggest one is just knowing that I can't do this alone. Like knowing how many years I kind of spun my wheels before Anna and I sort of found traction together. We go ahead and use the EOS language there, right? Like, knowing that
True.
I need other people, and that even that I'm pretty good at building systems, but I am not efficient at building systems, and I'm not as good at it as somebody who's really good at it. And so I probably shouldn't do it, or I should probably look to get out of that role as soon as I can. So knowing that is helping me a lot. I literally called Anna a couple months ago. It might be why we're here. I don't remember. And I said, can I just talk at you for an hour? Because I think the analogy I had was like, I need like a swimmer. I need a wall to push off of, or else I'm just not going anywhere. Like, I don't know if I'm going the right direction. And so I'm doing a better job this time of leaning on other people who are not like me to get insight and input. And then I think I'm also doing a better job of giving myself grace in the weird early stage where, like, I know I'm going to be the visionary and I know it's going to be a little bit sloppy, and I don't want to miss the chance to enjoy that. Like the fact that I keep saying to myself, this year my mantra has been my favorite whiteboard is an empty white. Like, I actually love the big wide open, it's not settled yet space, and I don't want to miss it in a rush to get somewhere else. So I'm giving myself more grace to be who I am and enjoy that as well.
That's great. Now, could this be fortuitous? This is like reunited and it feels so good kind of thing. Are you guys gonna get into any of that again?
Yeah, I don't know. We've talked about it. We both sort of have other things. Our lives are pointed in all kinds of different directions right now, both of us.
Yeah.
So
Well,
we don't know, but it's I don't know. It's good to be talking about it again.
Lord
It is
willing.
be talking about it again. And I love that knowing what we're good at, knowing what you're good at, knowing what I'm good at. Like, just trusting that if the stars and the planets align, we can continue that. And if not, like, forever cheering you on from afar and being your person to bounce ideas off of. Like,
Same.
that's fabulous.
Yeah. Same.
That's so valuable. We got a couple last questions for you both.
Yeah,
All right.
speaking of tunage and sounding and poor singing on Tony's part, let's try to get a different visual in our heads. So, this question for both of you: what song out there instantaneously takes you back to that era when you guys were working together? You guys were working in music. You guys had music as part of the business. What song takes you back where you're going, oh man, I remember Benjie?
Human by the Killers.
What is it? Wait, which one?
Human by the Killers.
Oh yeah. Mine is okay. So we're thinking of the same picture right now. Our space was so cool. It was a recording studio. We had a friend who built a piece of an artwork on our wall. There was this beautiful painted artwork that had car speakers built into it, and we ran our stereo through that. And so we would
Nice.
stream radio all day through this painting as we would just do our work. And so I think we had a station. I think we had a Pandora station based on Human. Mine is Fireflies by Owl City. I heard an instrumental version of it the other day, and the trio played an instrumental of that too. The group that I played with at weddings, so I have like the double. It hits me double whammy whenever I hear that song. I'm back at Backthird immediately.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's super cool. I've got one last question for you both. What's a moment in your life that felt small at the time, but ended up really being impactful for you and changing?
Hmm.
Reflection going on now.
That's such a good. Yeah, I can think of a lot of them. I'm trying to think of like what to share.
I have one. It's not
Okay.
the only one, but I feel like this whole experience with Backthird was, one of the most formative things I've done. I would put it up there with being a parent and some other kind of long haul tasks that you do. The reason I love entrepreneurship and small business in general is because it's so formative. Like it makes you, or gives you an opportunity to work on yourself and to notice all of your nonsense and work on it. But the little story I have about that is I'm at a job and I played with a group called Twin Strings. It was a violinist and a cellist who were literally twin sisters, Joy and Priscilla. And then I would switch between piano and guitar and we played pop music. That was our gimmick. And we doubled down on that and built a lot of the business around that. It was a big deal in that era. And we had a corporate client that loved us that would bring us out for these corporate events. And so we're at a hotel. I don't remember which one it was in downtown Chicago. And we're playing, we've got a 4-hour job, like a really long corporate job. We're playing an hour of cocktail music and then like 2 hours of dinner music. And then I think they were going to give some awards out and we're going to play them out or something like that. And the violinist's bridge in the middle, literally the first song of cocktail hour, her bridge snaps, like not a string, the little piece of wood on the violin that holds the strings up. And you don't carry an extra one of those around and they're not cheap. Like the instrument is done when that snaps. And so our bridge breaks in two and we've got 4 hours ahead of us and no violin for a trio job. And I sort of had this like spiritual peace moment, right? Of like, this isn't my fault. We're going to stop. We're going to say a little prayer. And then our only job is going to be to ask, where's the violin going to come from? Because we know that we need a violin. And I don't remember if I got on the phone or if I think probably Joy got on the phone and Priscilla and I, the cellist, played the first hour. We pulled out every song we could do that would work with just cello and guitar, played the first hour. And she got on the phone, and the second or third person, she started calling all our other violinists in the company. And another violinist, whose name is Allison, who lives 40 miles away in Aurora, happens to be in Chicago, blocks away, visiting her boyfriend with her violin in her hand. And she's at that cocktail hour in like less than half an hour, handing off the violin. We did the rest of the night. 10 years since that moment, whenever like the stuff has hit the fan and I've been in trouble, I just will stop and ask myself, Benjie, where's the violin? Like,
Yeah.
you need some outside help. You're not going to solve this one on your own. Where's the help going to come from? That's your only job to ask. That
Awesome.
changed me.
Super cool.
Chop that, Anna.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know that I can. That's awesome. Where is the violin? Yeah, I really love
Did we ever
that.
tell you that one?
No, I knew that. I remember it. I don't
Yeah.
think I had like the nice little like sermon illustration
Well, yeah,
version of it.
you
I
didn't
think
know how
I
formative
heard
it
like
was
the
for me
very fresh,
personally.
like, you will never believe what happened this weekend.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think yours is when you learned a certain spreadsheet formula, maybe something like that.
Oh man,
Learn how to do a
waxed
VLOOKUP.
poetic on my love
VLOOKUP, yeah,
for
that's one of them.
for
That'd be one of them.
VLOOKUP.
That's a pivotal
Man.
one.
First time an angry bride called and you still live to tell the tale.
Pardon?
The first time an angry bride called and you live to tell the tale.
Oh, Lord save us from the angry brides. I mean, I think eventually that's why I got out of that business, but then I went on to work in churches and schools. So, maybe I'm just a glutton for punishment when it comes to unhappy people who are very passionate about their experiences. I think that a really powerful one for me was one of our earliest DJ meetings, where we decided that, the team was growing big enough that we wanted to have them all come in. I think it was once a month or maybe once a quarter. And we would kind of, open up with some like training or something. Well, we'd open up with just kind of fun, just connect, and then go into, whatever we're training or talking about that week, just to stay consistent with all the different kinds of things. And I think it was like probably about 2012 or 13. And looking around that room and feeling like, oh, wow, we built a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because the DJs were so often remote, but to actually like see the people gathered and hear them talking about like skills that they were refining and the weddings that they'd had and sharing stories and all of that, like, oh, we're really doing it. We're building a thing. And I think that so much of the like perspective of that I have of like, I'm in the moment, I'm building the system, I'm fixing the formula, I'm doing, being able to step back and having those moments of like, yeah, this
Doing
is
it.
real. We have a business here.
Yeah.
We're really doing the thing.
Yeah.
That's really powerful.
The myopia is real. And especially in our business, because we literally didn't see each other. I mean, like I said, we had a 25-person team, of which there were 3 or 4 in the office during the week. And then on the weekends, they were all scattered all over the city. So we were almost never in the same place.
Yeah.
And when we started doing events once a year at the end of the year to celebrate and tell stories to each other.
Mhm.
I had that feeling at the end of every year when we got together.
Yeah.
You actually realize, oh, I am part of a big thing. We just don't see it when we have our heads down. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah,
Yes.
pretty cool.
Super cool.
The other time was the first time that I color coded an Excel file.
It's been so nice to have you both here with us.
Thanks, you too. It's a treat.
All right, that was Benjie Hughes and Anna Hammond, the founders and fixers behind Backthird Entertainment, where creativity met discipline and somehow made some music. What they built wasn't just a business, it was a lesson in partnership, pressure, and trust. If you've ever tried to build something with someone who sees the world differently, you know what that takes. I'm Forrest.
I'm Tony.
And this is Fixers and Founders.
Oh, my darlings, look at you. Still here with me till the end. That's how I know you're one of us. The fixers, the founders, the ones who build in the chaos and still manage to laugh through it. Drop a comment, share your sparks, and connect with each other. This is where the net weaving begins. Like, share, and subscribe to keep the fire blowing. Until next time.